and welcome everybody to our third session for the Localized Virtual Career Fair. This is the first day. Please go through the platform, have a look at the different companies represented here today. And today we're very lucky to have with us Antonia and Jenn from Microsoft talking to us about opportunities available there and generally about Microsoft and how we can approach such a great company, actually. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Antonia. Please take it away.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone, and thank you, Ahmed, for the introduction. My name is Antonia, and I'm part of the recruitment team in Microsoft for EMEA. And together with my colleague Jenn, we're going to have a very short presentation about the kind of opportunities we have in Microsoft within the whole EMEA region. Jenn is going actually to start because she is from our university recruitment team. Jenn, please introduce yourself, and I'm going to start the presentation. Let me know when you want me to start moving the slides. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Hopefully everyone can hear me. I'm so happy to be here with you all today. As Antonia shared, my name is Jenn Travis, and I am part of the university recruiting team. So that means I work with those that are still in university or those within 1 year of graduating. And so today I'm going to take you quickly through the opportunities that we have across the Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and then what our application process looks like as well, as I know there's always a lot of questions about that. But first things first, I wanted to touch on Microsoft's mission statement. So hopefully you are all familiar with it, but if not, it's here for you all. So it's to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. Now that is a very big mission statement, but it's something that we kind of hold true and near to our heart as we consider all of the engagements and all of the focuses that we have as a company. And it connects back to kind of our early days, but it's a newer mission within the past 5 to 10 years. When Satya became CEO, we kind of shifted our cultural focus and the dynamics that we have as a company. So on the next slide, I will quickly talk about the culture that we have at Microsoft, which has certainly been reinvented since Satya Nadella became our CEO in 2015. We can only achieve this grand mission to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more if we actually live this culture that we've created. So we start by becoming learners in all things or having a growth mindset. That's certainly one of the things that we talk about at Microsoft all of the time, which is being a learn-it-all and not a know-it-all. So how can we absorb as much information as possible, and how can we continue asking questions and kind of pushing the envelope? We then apply that mindset to learning about our customers. We are very customer obsessed. We wouldn't be as successful as we are as a company without our customers. And so we need to learn as much as we can about them, as well as being diverse and inclusive. So we want our products and our technologies to be used by people around the globe, which means that we need to have, people from all different backgrounds and all different experiences working on creating those tools and technologies. And so it's very much a part of the Microsoft culture. And we also really focus on working together as one. So having a one Microsoft approach. So regardless of whether you're sitting in Egypt or you're sitting in, I sit in Ireland, but I'm from the US. So whether I'm sitting in Ireland or sitting in the US, I have the opportunity to work with amazing people across Microsoft to help, create this culture and then help build the tools and technologies used by our customers, which ultimately lead us to help us make a difference in the world. So just a few quick notes about, Microsoft's mission statement and the culture that we have. It's an amazing place to work, and I'm sure you'll hear more about that throughout the presentation and learning about the opportunities and from Antonia, but I always think it's a great place to start. So now if we want to dive into the opportunities that we have, you can see the locations that we hire into across the Europe, Middle East, and Africa for our university opportunities. So quite a number of locations and quite a variety of roles that we hire for. So I'll leave this slide up for just a second, as I'm sure you kind of want to peek through all of the locations. But the great thing is that we hire into these locations each year. As I was saying, very different positions, but we have both internship and full-time opportunities. So on the next slide, thanks, Antonia. We have both engineering and what we call go-to-market roles. Our engineering opportunities would consist of software engineering and program management roles. And in the Middle East and Africa, the only locations that we hire engineering roles into would be in Nigeria and Kenya. So we recently, maybe at this point it's almost 2 years maybe, but we opened up a new our African Development Center in Nigeria and Kenya. And so those are the locations that we currently have opportunities that we're hiring into for engineering roles. Go-to-market side would be more operations, sales, marketing, more technical consulting type roles. And those we have a few more locations that we hire into across Africa and the Middle East. You can see the locations listed there. So in Africa, we have Egypt, Morocco, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa. And in the Middle East, we have Turkey, the UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, Oman, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. There's a variety of roles that we hire into for those locations. Some of them I've listed there. So we have customer success account managers, account executives, customer engineers. There are other operational roles, business program managers. It really depends on what side of the spectrum you're interested in. If you're interested more on the sales side, the technology side, customer side, operations, you name it, and we generally will have some sort of opportunity that connects your passion with, that type of role at Microsoft. The one thing to be aware of is for our engineering opportunities, we are generally able to support work authorization, but for our go-to-market roles, we are not. So as you are considering an opportunity with Microsoft, at least from the university side, just be conscious that you're applying for countries that you have the eligibility to actually be employed in. On the next slide, I just wanted to share the difference between the full-time roles that we have available and our internship opportunities that we have available. So if you're still in university and if you're graduating in 2022 and you're looking for an internship, we have them. So they will generally be between 3 months to 12 months, depending upon the location and the type of internship it is. They are paid. Most of them are full-time, but if you're still studying or you don't have the ability to take a semester off or a couple of days off per week, then we can accommodate a part-time internship. Your graduation date really determines whether you're eligible for an internship or a full-time opportunity. So one of the major caveats is that you return to university for at least 1 semester after completing an internship. So that's kind of the big distinguisher between the two opportunities that we have available when it comes to full-time or internship. On the full-time side, that is what we call our Aspire program. So any university student that joins Microsoft straight out of university will join as part of this Aspire program, which is a 2-year onboarding program where you have the opportunity to learn a lot about Microsoft's culture, learn how to operate, in a corporate environment. You also have the opportunity to be connected with other university hires that have started across the globe. So you get this network and this community, because we know starting at any new company can be overwhelming, and especially a company as massive as Microsoft. And so we want to make the transition as easy as possible for you. So, the full-time roles that we have are full-time. Once you join Microsoft, you're in your role. They are obviously paid with tons of great benefits, great networks and connections. And again, your graduation date helps determine your eligibility here. So to be eligible for a full-time university role with Microsoft, you must be within 1 year of graduating or have 1 year left of university. And again, for most of our roles, you do need to be eligible to work in the country that you are applying for. So just a few important notes there as we kind of think about the opportunities. When it comes to our recruiting cycle, our application process, all of our opportunities are posted at microsoft.com/university. So if you're interested in seeing what's available or what's out there, I would encourage you to just kind of bookmark that website. You can create job alerts as well. So if there's a specific location that you're looking for, a specific type of role, you can go there and set that up and get emailed notifications whenever something becomes available. Our opportunities are posted throughout the year. Our peak hiring season is generally September to December. I put the dates on there as a general guideline, but I would say we are hiring throughout the year. So it's good to, stay connected with the website and continue checking it based on what you're interested in. Once you've applied online, a recruiter such as myself would review your application and make sure you fit the eligibility criteria and that you have the basic qualifications that we're looking for. After that, if I've kind of checked those first boxes, I would then invite you to a first round interview, which is typically a 30-minute phone interview with one of my colleagues. And at that point, they would ask you a lot of questions around, your motivations for applying for the role and your background. So nothing too in-depth, but just getting some better understanding about who you are and why you're interested in this role. And then the next and final round would be either 3 or 4 interviews that are generally about 45 minutes in length. It's all taking place over Teams right now, of course, due to the inability to travel. But we would kind of dive deeper into your motivation, your interests, your capabilities and skills, and that's where you'd speak directly with the hiring manager and a few other individuals that would be on the team with you as well. So that's just a high-level overview of our recruiting process. As I said, the timeline on there is typical, but we definitely are hiring throughout the course of the year. So just kind of keeping that in the back of your mind. If you go to the careers website and there's nothing that you're looking for right now, keep checking back in it, set up those job alerts so that you can be notified when something does get posted. Last but not least, I wanted to share some CV tips and tricks with you all. I spend a lot of time looking at applications, and there are just some things that are really important. I think every application include, especially if you're looking for an internship or a full-time opportunity. And the first thing would be making sure that you have your university included on your application. I know sometimes that's very obvious, but I don't see it all the time. So making sure you have your university, your major, so what you're studying, and then your graduation month and year. As I said, that really helps to determine whether you're eligible for the internship or the full-time opportunity. And so it saves me an email from having to ask you what your graduation month and year is if you just have it on there and we can confirm right away that you're eligible. Then I would encourage you to put any internships and or work experience you have. Especially as university students, I understand that you wouldn't be coming in with a lot of experience, and it's okay if you don't have internships or work experience. But if you do, make sure you put it on there so I can understand what your background is in. Academic record, there I think it's great to include any classes that you think are relevant in regards to the role that you're applying for, or maybe, an extracurricular class that you took, which really kind of set you out, or something that was of interest to you. Extracurricular projects. If you're applying for a technical role, including your GitHub account or including an app you built or something that really shows your passion for technology is relevant regardless of whether you're applying for an engineering role or a account executive role, because Microsoft is a technology company and we want to see that you have this passion for technology and you'll bring that passion to work with you. Any leadership experience you have, be it at university, maybe on a club, football team that you played on, whatever it may be, just including something on there that shows a little bit about who you are, and that'll help set you apart as well. And then last but not least, just making sure you keep all of the information relevant to your application. I would highly recommend that you keep your application or your CV to 1 page. As a university student, again, I'm not expecting you to come in with 5 pages worth of experience, and it takes a lot of time to kind of review all of that information. And so keeping it as concise as possible will really help set your application up for success. So just a few tips and tricks. Hopefully they were helpful, and just a few things to keep in mind as you consider your application. I'll now hand it back over to Antonia to share a little bit more about CSS opportunities with you all.
Thank you, Jen. Moving a bit forward. Okay. I want to talk to you guys today about our CSS business. CSS stands for Customer Services and Support. And within the locations that we mentioned earlier, especially Egypt, Jordan, Israel, and Turkey, this is the biggest business group that we have, meaning that the majority of full-time opportunities this time, so after you graduated from your bachelor or master's, are going to be within this field. And, to give it a nice intro, I want to share a video with you. I'm hoping that you are gonna hear the sound. This video summarizes basically what CSS means for Microsoft.
Every day, business leaders, schools, advertisers, gamers, developers, and everyone in between rely on CSS to help them achieve more with Microsoft's products and services.
Each person in CSS brings the Microsoft mission to life by empowering one person and one organization at a time.
Our global customer base has a diverse set of needs, ranging from help with purchases to reporting potential fraud to deep technical support and more.
Each customer is unique, and we approach every customer interaction with empathy and a growth mindset.
We love working with our customers to understand and overcome challenges. We do this in many ways. Here are just a few examples.
First, we put the power in our customers' hands by helping them prevent and resolve issues.
When our customers want our help, we're here to provide expertise and solutions.
Once they get the help they need, customers appreciate getting advice about how to get more value from their investments in Microsoft. We ensure they can make full use of Microsoft products and services.
We interact with customers at every stage of their journey with Microsoft. As a result, CSS holds deep insights about how customers use our technology, and we have a pulse on customer sentiment.
We bring this insight to engineering, sales, and marketing groups across Microsoft to improve the customer experience.
Customers are at the heart of what we do and what we are most passionate about.
CSS delivers that and more over 200,000 times a day.
Let's continue to put our customers first in everything we do, and together, deliver on Microsoft's mission
to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more.
Okay, so now that you got a bit more information about CSS, basically CSS is a range of people offering support for all of our technologies. So we are offering support to everyone. It comes, from governmental agencies to small companies to the biggest companies in the world and even to individual developers. We work with all customers, and if you would be hired in Egypt, for example, this doesn't mean you would be supporting customers, let's say in Egypt. We work on a global level. Another very important part is that we don't only offer technical support. We also have positions that offer, for example, billing support, or they work with licensing or purchasing. But I would say in a reality basis, most of our positions would be technical positions, and they would be attached to one of our teams. And let's look about what kind of things a customer engineer would do. First of all, we are the front line with our customers. Basically, let's say whenever one of our organizations that we work with has a problem, their technical department doesn't know how to solve it. So they need to get expert advice. The last layer of support that they can reach out to is Microsoft. So basically, we interact a lot from a technical perspective with the IT departments from the customer side. It's very important also to know that we don't only offer technical expertise. Our, let's say, role in CSS is also to teach our customers how to prevent the kind of issues that they are having with our problems and empower them to be able to solve them themselves the next time. So it's much more than only solving problems. We are also working together with them to make sure that they also have the right resources and understanding of the product so they can solve their own problems. Moving a bit forward, we are working in CSS. We have a very, very global team, 191 countries all over the globe, a lot of languages, over 20,000 people working as full-time employees with Microsoft, and the same amount of people working on the partner side. Partners are basically companies that offer support for Microsoft products, but on behalf of Microsoft. It's one of our biggest teams. I would say is one of the most diverse teams in Microsoft, and it's a great opportunity to work as a support engineer. These are all of the technologies that we support. So we would have, different teams supporting different aspects of all of our products, starting with, I don't know, Outlook, Teams, Azure, and within Azure, we would have, teams focusing on security. We would have teams focusing on our data centers or Azure servers, looking into Intune or Dynamics. Every single technology that Microsoft has also has a support team behind it. And these are the type of roles that you are going to see on our career side within this department. I mean, the most common one that we have would be the support engineer position, which is actually the frontline technical person that would speak to our customers. And then the next roles are different career paths that you could take. For example, the next one, the support escalation engineer position. This is a much more senior role. Basically, they would be the people that would investigate the most complex issues. Escalation engineers are a kind of a hybrid between support and software engineers. They work a lot with code, and they look into code issues at a product level, for example. Technical advisors are a position that not only is technical, but they also may be on a path of becoming a manager. You would see a lot of technical advisor positions that would also have, for example, people that are working as vendors for Microsoft under their responsibility. And then we also have support engineering managers. These are non-technical roles. These are people manager positions, basically that take care of the career path and the performance of a team. On the right side, we have the partner technical roles. Basically, these roles work with our partners, so with companies that offer support for Microsoft products, but on behalf of Microsoft, to make sure that they have all of the resources, knowledge, and the support they need in order to help our customers. So that would be everything from my side. We wanted to leave a big chunk of this time for any questions. So if anybody wants to come off mute.
Thank you very much, Jenn and Antonia. That was extremely informative. I already see a bunch of questions. So let me kick off the questions with the questions that we do have right now on chat. And please, everybody, as we continue, please post more of your questions. This is a great opportunity to answer any of these questions you might have about Microsoft and working for Microsoft. So I have a question from Ahmed Abeid. Does the work eligibility requirement mean that in a country like the UAE, only nationals are eligible to apply? If you are currently authorized to work but will need sponsorship at the date of residence renewal. So I think this is more specific to you guys are for UAE nationals. I think this is relevant because UAE do want to usually hire nationals. But
so I'm happy to answer that. We do have a program in the UAE which are solely is an internship opportunity for Emiratis, so they would be UAE nationals. But we also do hire non-Emiratis, but those that have work authorization as well. So it just depends on the opportunity, and it would be listed in the job description whether or not it's a requirement for you to be a UAE national.
Great, thank you. And then we have another question from Tanya, and I think I'll answer that on your behalf. Hello, is there any internship opportunities in marketing, sales, or communications in Jordan? And I think the correct response is go onto the site, and if there is, then there is. Are there these types of roles in Jordan? I believe you answered that already, that there are. So it's just a matter of, are they available? Are there vacancies at the moment? We have another question from Muhammad. He said, since everything is virtual at the moment, do we need a work permit to work in another country if we get accepted into Microsoft there virtually?
I can take this one. Unfortunately, yes. And this is because, of legal requirements. Basically, you cannot be in Romania and then have a Jordanian contract, for example. So from a legal perspective, yes, if you have a contract in a certain country, you need to be there and pay taxes there. But yeah, for this time, it doesn't really matter. We don't have remote opportunities, 100%. In terms of working from home, this is true. I think globally, all of our offices are currently closed, and everybody's working from home, but you still need to be in that particular country to get a job.
Great, that's clear. Thank you. Min asked the question, would you advise a fresh graduate who doesn't have much work experience to apply for full-time or internship positions?
Yep. So if you're a fresh graduate, you're actually only eligible to apply for the full-time roles. Remember, we talked about the graduation date and how that determines your eligibility. So if you've already graduated and you're within 1 year of graduating, then you can apply for any opportunity at Microsoft.com/university that's under full-time. If you're more than a year outside of university, there are certainly opportunities. Those would just get our careers website, which is Microsoft.com/careers. Antonia, if I'm okay, perfect. Yeah, Microsoft.com/careers. So certainly apply if you're a university student to the university site, and then if you're more than a year outside to the industry site. If you have limited experience, that's okay. Remember, you're a university student. We know you're a university student. We don't expect you to be coming in with 5 years worth of experience. We just want to know what experience you do have.
There's a question here, and I find this quite interesting, and I see this regularly. So I'm going to paraphrase. This is from Amr. So if I graduated a few years back, like 2011. I worked as a mechanical engineer or something, but I've also studied outside, so not within a university context. But I have the skills I would need to apply to a software engineer position, for example. Is there an opportunity to do that?
Yes, of course. As long as you make it visible in your CV, because if you do not mention anywhere those skills, we would not be able, whenever you apply, to make sure that you have the right skills for the role. So if you follow Jen's advice on how to create a good CV, it doesn't really matter if you finished a financial degree and you want to get into software engineering, or you want to get into a technical position. We definitely do that. We have a lot of people coming from different backgrounds. We took in people that had absolutely no technical background, and we build them from the bottom up. So yeah, for sure, this is not only, I see another question, if you're graduating 2011, of course you can apply, but don't apply for a university role, apply for a full-time employee following the Microsoft career site.
So I'm going to ask another question in general. If somebody has said that they're applying to a career site, but the positions are not are not appearing. So if somebody does have a technical issue with applications, is there somewhere that he could send in those questions?
Yes, there is a I don't know how to call it. There is a way to flag these issues on the career site. If you go to frequently asked questions, you're definitely going to find there a way to raise a case and put there any kind of problem that you may experience with the career site. It happens sometimes, but
yeah, I'll just add 2 things to that. So there's also at the bottom of the career site, there's a support button. And so if you're having issues, you can click that and it'll take you to where you can submit a ticket. But also the positions are probably disappearing because they're closed. And so that's why they'll come off of the career site. But if you've applied for them, then your application would still be being considered. You can also go to your action center which is when you log into the career site, if on the top right-hand corner, you'll be able to click on your name and there's a drop-down menu. Then there's something called the action center, and that's where you can go and see your active applications. And as long as it's still showing under active applications, then that means that you're still being considered for it.
Great. So I have a couple of questions that I see regularly being asked. They haven't been asked here today, but I'm assuming some people will be thinking about them. So as an applicant, can I apply to multiple jobs at the same time? Yes. Is there?
Yes, you can. But I think it's important to note that most probably one of the recruiters is going to get in touch with you and ask what would be your first preference, because we do have an inside policy to not include a person in too many processes at the same time. It can get confusing. So if you're applying for 3 different positions, probably somebody's going to get in touch with you and ask, hey, which one of those would be the most interesting for you? Or if you were to make a choice, which one would you choose? And you would probably go forward with that one. I think another very important part is that if, for example, you attend a Microsoft interview and you have a good feedback, that feedback is going to be carried out to all of the other applications that you're going to make in the future. So the feedback is stored. So basically, if you have applied 2 years ago and you interviewed and you had a very good feedback, but maybe it was just not the right time, I'm going to be able right now to see that feedback and move that application forward. If you applied before and were rejected, there is nothing stopping you from trying again. Okay, so there is no rule that you cannot apply again.
Perfect, and that actually answers my next question. In that, if I apply once, does the CV stay on the system? Is there a history? You answered that perfectly. Thank you. We do have a question from Zaid. Sorry. I want to ask about the technical positions. I am aware that each position have a list of skills needed. If I have most of the skills, but I lacked 1 or 2. Does Microsoft offer a skill up program for new employees, especially fresh grads? And I think that's actually a very good question.
Yeah, so our Aspire program. So the program that I was talking about would be the program for all new grads that are able to join, and that is certainly that would be more around kind of the culture and learning to connect with the community and networking. But we also don't expect you to come in with all of the necessary skills to be successful. Microsoft is full of incredible people who are going to be willing to coach and help and mentor you. So as long as you have the fundamentals to be successful, that's really what we're looking for, and that desire to learn and to grow. You'd be able to pick up, if there's a specific programming language we need you to know, you'd be able to pick it up in no time because you would have the tools and the support enabled to do that. So even if you have most of the skills that are listed, I would encourage you to still apply. And then hopefully, once you're actually in the company, we'd be able to upskill you there.
Awesome. That's actually perfect. And that's I think so. So I don't necessarily have to have all the skills listed to apply. If I have most of them, then that's usually good enough to at least start the application process.
Exactly.
So let me ask you something. We're approaching time. So guys, if anybody has any more questions that I did not address in the audience, please put them in the chat again. There's quite a lot of stuff. So I tried to go through everything, but if I did miss your question, please post it again. So the question is regarding the soft skills. So it's hard skills are relatively easy to define, right? You take a course, you have a grade. There's a lot of ways to identify that. Soft skills, not so much. Do you guys have any? Are there key soft skills that you value most in Microsoft? And can you give any recommendations to our audience on how they could portray that within an application process?
Yeah, I think they are very much connected to our values. So, for example, whenever I'm recruiting any kind of role, and even in technical roles, we are always looking at a person's growth mindset. It is I think in Microsoft, it is very important to be, as Jenn said, a learn-it-all and not a know-it-all. And also another very important thing, I think for all roles would be, valuing diversity and being able to collaborate with others, no matter if they are coming from different cultures, with different backgrounds, younger, older, it doesn't really matter. So I think these are the most important things in terms of soft skills. And another important thing to note is that for full-time opportunities, I'm pretty sure it's the same for internships. Sometimes these soft skills weight more than the technical and hard knowledge.
Great, that's actually very good to know. There's a bunch of questions being asked about positions and vacancies. And again, I want to just highlight to everybody attending, for the most up-to-date lists of vacancies and positions, do go to the Microsoft site. If there is no position available for the country at the moment, then there are no vacancies available at the moment. And that's going to actually be my last question for you. So if I like Microsoft as a company. It's a company that I want to work for, but I go online and there's no opportunities at the moment. Is there something that I can do to be like, hey, consider me if something appears, or here, this is me. I don't see an available opportunity, but I love the company. What can I do if I'm in that position?
Yeah, so we don't have any kind of, just general application where you can submit your CV and just be sitting in a bank. But there are many different ways that you can connect with the company. So there are various LinkedIn groups that you can join, especially, I know on university recruiting side, we do have like a university recruiting group, and I think there are 20,000 students in it worldwide. And so you can join it, you can ask questions, you can engage with the community. We do various webinars throughout the course of the year, which whether you're a university student or not, you're welcome to attend. They would be kind of talking about, the locations and the opportunities and, CV tips and tricks like we went over, how to build out your LinkedIn profile. So I'd certainly engage on LinkedIn. I would set up the job alert so you can be alerted when an opportunity opens up that is of interest to you. And, I would just say keep kind of like upskilling yourself as well. There are so many online courses that you can take, so many ways that you can kind of just, make yourself even more marketable when the role does come up that you're interested in applying for. And I would encourage you to do that, in the interim.
Excellent. That's great advice. Please, Antonia.
I would also recommend that you build up a LinkedIn profile and even connect with me and Jen. I would be more than happy to have you in my connection list. Most of the time, me and other recruiters in Microsoft also advertise on LinkedIn the roles. We make a posting for it. And the very important part, as Jen mentioned, and as Ahmed, I see here the last question. Yes, it is always good to brush up on the technical topics, especially because you have so much free documentation online. Any kind of Microsoft technology you would like to learn, if you just Google Microsoft Exchange, for example, you're going to find 50 pages about what is it, how is it used. So I think it's very much recommended that you do that. And especially if you apply for a position, make sure that you do a bit of research about what the position is about. If it's a technical role, what kind of technology this is. I think this would definitely gonna get you up the list of candidates when you do so. In terms of my LinkedIn account, that is my name, Antonia Veleanovici. If you can just search on LinkedIn, you're gonna find me there. Jen, I guess it's the same for you.
And that's really awesome. Let me say that the fact that you guys can connect with recruiters beforehand, even, building that relationship, I believe is important. And once there is a position available, it will definitely come in handy, I believe. Great. Antonia, Jen, thank you so much for your time. This was fantastic. We had a lot of questions. I hope we were able to answer everybody's questions. I look forward to seeing Jen and Antonia on the Localized platform in the coming 2 days. Please, everybody, do go onto the Microsoft page, do go onto the Microsoft channel, engage with the team there. And if you have any further questions, please do feel to ask them on the channel there. I do want to point that there is a session coming up in 15 minutes with Ellen Mishra from the IFC, International Finance Corporation, also very large company, a very large organization. So I do recommend that everybody make their way there for that session. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.